Good evening. Today I'm talking about factors that influences student engagement and motivation. My name is Jenny Pargula. The difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. I'm talking about extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is a fantastic because it taps into what the students are genuinely interested in. When they are motivated from within, they take charge of their learning, think deeply, and perceive through challenge. For example, a student might explore cool science experiments on their own or play an instrument simply because they enjoy it. It's all about finding joy in learning. Extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation can really help in getting a student engaged, especially when they comes across tasks that don't grab the interest right away. Simple rewards like sticker, extra credit, or shout out for achievement can make a big difference in encouraging participation and tackling challenging assessment. That say, finding a balance between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation is key. If a student focuses only on these external rewards, they might miss out on the joy of learning and discovering new things. The goal is to help them to develop a genuine love for learning by recognition the value of education beyond just the rewards. By doing so, we can inspire them to appreciate the journey of learning itself. The relationship between engagement and motivation. Engagement, how students show effort, energy, and attention in learning. Each student looks different. Some are active, others quiet. Influences by challenge and motivation level. Teacher helps students focus their best effort for success. We're talking about what is motivation. Motivation, the reason a student choose to learn. We have to we talk about intrinsic comes from within, like loving animals spark interest in a science project, or extrinsic motivation comes from outside, points or praise encourage participation. Knowing what motivates a student help both engagement and love of learning. The effect of culture and parental attitudes about education on student engagement and motivation. Student motivation and engagement are closely linked to their cultural background and family beliefs. Cultural values influence how students view learning. For instance, some families emphasize respect for authority and academic success, while others prior, prioritize creativity and self-expression. When teachers connect lesson to student cultural experience, as highlighted by Geneva Gain in Cultural Responsive Teaching, students feel validated and valued. Parental involvement is equally crucial. Supportive parents who encourage an autonomy typically raise children with higher motivation and self efficacy. However, excessively high or controlling expectation can lead to anxiety and decreased motivation. Educators can enhance student engagement by partnering with families and respecting cultural difference. Such collaboration fosters a supportive environment that empowers all students to thrive and succeed in their learning journey. By embracing diversity, we can create classrooms that celebrate individual backgrounds and promote academic excellence. Sign of disengagement and an explanation of why disengagement might be occurring. So we have four characteristic. One of them is the behavioral sign. Disengaged student might exhibit avoidance by skipping participation in discussion, neglecting to complete assignment, or displaying off task behavior during class. With withdrawal can be marked by lack of participation in group activities or failure to follow classroom expectation. Emotional sign. These students often present as bored, frustrated, or emotionally withdrawn. This emotional detachment can lead to a loss of interest in learning, making it difficult for them to connect with the material or participation in classroom interaction. The other two signs will be cognitively sign of disengagement if a student can include decreased effort, difficulty concentrating, and declining academic performance, often leading to failing or failure. This disengagement can stem from learning environment that lack relevance to student interests or background. Geneva Guide 2018 emphasized the importance of culturally responsive teaching, which made learning more relatable. Another factor is a lack of autonomy. When students feel they have no control over their learning, their motivating their motivation might decline. According to Desi and Ryan, self-determination theory, autonomy, competence, and relatedness are key for fostering engagement. Additionally, weak teacher-student relationship and social challenge like bullying can further disconnect students. The nature of learning tasks also matter. Tasks that are too tricky or too easy can lead to frustration or boredom. Recognizes and addressing signs of disengagement is crucial for educators. Strategies like collaborative activities, differentiate instruction, and culturally responsive methods can help create a more engaging and inclusive educational experience. Two research-based approach that teacher can use to re-engage a student. One compassionate way to re-engage students is through culturally responsive teaching (CRT), which recognizes and values their unique background and lived experience. As Geneva Gate 2018 points out, when students see themselves reflected into the curriculum, it can truly uplift their spirit and reignite their motivation to learn. Teacher can embrace culturally responsive teacher by incorporating diverse literature and perspective that resonate with their student. Another nurturing approach is collaborative learning. Research by Johnson and Johnson 2019 reveals that structured groups work not only improves learning outcome but also foster meaningful social connection. When students feel like belong to a supportive team, they are more likely to engage and put forth their best effort. Peer tutoring and cooperative project can create a sense of community in the classroom. By implementing these strategies, we can address both the intellectual and emotional needs for our students, helping them to reconnect with the joy of learning and feel value in the process. Conclusion. Teachers play a vital role in motivating students, particularly by shifting them from extrinsic motivation driven by external rewards to intrinsic motivation, which comes from personal interest. To facilitate this transition, educators can implement key strategies, providing students with choices in their learning foster a sense of ownership and engagement, connecting lessons to real life real, relevance helps students see the material's practical application, make it more meaningful. Celebrating effort and growth rather than just focusing on grade, encourage and grow mindset, and highlights the value of perseverance. By effectively combining both forms of motivation, teachers can create inclusive and inspiring classroom that engage all the students in their learning journey.